Hi, I'm Meg Ormiston. I look forward to sharing this module with you today. Hi, I'm Meg Ormiston, and I will be walking you through this module called Locating, Producing, and Using Audio Clips. In this module, you'll learn all about creating your own audio clips, finding ones that are online, and I also show you some subscription sites that have royalty-free clips that you can use. We'll look at some history clips, and we're going to learn about podcasting. So we have a lot to do in this module. Glad you could join me. First, let's start with collections that are already made. These are online collections that other people have produced for us. Let's see what's out there first before we start from scratch. No reason to reinvent the wheel if it's already there. The Library of Congress is one of the many places that have audio clips online waiting for you to use. They also have all different things. It's not just audio clips. But with a short search, there were hundreds of clips, including famous speeches, all different events in history. So Library of Congress is a great place to search. What I find with Library of Congress is the search in the Library of Congress, I think, is a little difficult to use. So what I do is I do my searching on Google, and I always put in the 3 letters LOC. So if I want Roosevelt's speech, A Date Which Will Live in Infamy, I will go to Google, put that in there, and then put LOC to see if it is available on the Library of Congress, which I believe it is. I know it's definitely available on the National Archives. So the Library of Congress is a great place to look, especially if you need something in history. Well, speaking of history, the History Channel has over 3,000, I believe, audio clips that are waiting for you to use. So I'm telling you, sometimes just putting in an audio clip, turning up the speakers will grab those students' attention and really help them focus. Sometimes you might have the speech or part of the speech maybe in a book. You can listen to it and help reach all different types of learners. Okay, this is one of my very favorites, and this one is not to be used with students. There's inappropriate, not images, but sounds. There is a mature section, so we definitely want to stay away from that. But there's really good sounds here. If you need applause, a car crashing, lines from The Office, a character from a cartoon character, they're here. Just make sure that you follow. There's some can be downloaded and some can't, and they just went to a for-fee kind of thing, so it's a website that's kind of in transition. But there's many different things on Soundboard. Don't add an S to it because it gets even worse. So be careful here. This is not for students. You've been warned. All right, this one is podbean.com. This is where you can host your podcast. So let's talk about what is a podcast. A podcast is a very fancy name for an audio file. That's it. An audio recording is called a podcast. There's videocast, which is really kind of what I'm doing right now, could be considered a video cast. But a podcast is just that, an audio clip. So it's a fancy name for an audio clip, and there's lots of places to upload podcasts to, the largest ones being iTunes, and we'll investigate that right now. These are podcasts that are uploaded by anyone in the world. Some are more appropriate than others, as you can just imagine. But what you do is you come in and search on your podcast over on the left, and then there's podcasts. There's also iTunes U. So if let's say that you're into scrapbooking, you cannot believe how many people create podcasts about scrapbooking. So these can be downloaded. You can put them on an iPod, but you don't have to. You can listen to them from your computer. You can listen to them on anything. So a podcast doesn't have anything really to do with an iPod. It just can be moved there, or an MP3 player, but it doesn't have to be. This one was interesting. This is on iTunes Store, the iTunes Store. So you have to download iTunes, and that's available for both Mac and PC. And iTunes, you can then go ahead and get your podcasts, or you can get your audio files, you can get your music, whatever you'd like. But this is interesting. It looks like they have a partnership with the Library of Congress to upload some of their audio files. So that was neat. And I also want you to look over to the right where it's USF. Lit to Go. So the Lit to Go project is University of South Florida, and they are reading books, all different types of books. And look at this, right down the right side, 7th grade, Edgar Allan Poe, the works of Edgar Allan Poe. Do you see my favorite part of this page? Over to the right is free, 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 right down. And they're beautiful collections of all different types of poems. There's poems, there's stories, all different grade levels from primary all the way up. So the USF Lit to Go project. See where it's Lit to Go. That's what you want to be looking for. How about this? Look at this, the podcast from the Smithsonian Institute. I'm telling you, there's podcasts about everything. And there's also iTunes University, where professors all over the globe have agreed to record their lectures and put them up on iTunes as part of iTunes University, all for free. All for free. So if you want to go learn something, you can go take an economics class from London, wherever you want to be. And they're all free and available to you. So even though they're in the iTunes store, they are free. Okay, now we went out and looked around and found some things that you liked. Now, what if you want to make your own? To create a podcast, one of the best pieces of software out there is free, and it's Audacity. And it works on both a Mac and a PC. So what I thought I'd do is show you how easy it is once you download this software, the Audacity software. You download it at audacity.sourceforge.net. And once you do that, this is what it looks like. And to create your first, we'll do it right now. To create your first podcast, you want to go ahead and click the record button, and then you should see your squiggly lines appearing. Now, I'm recording two things on my machine at once, so it's a little slow, I can see, keeping up with me. And so when you are done, this is really important, you want to make sure that you click on the yellow square. That means done. You don't do the pause, because then you don't have access to everything. When you download Audacity, there is another piece of software that you also have to download and install, which is called Lame, Lame, Lame. So once you go ahead and make your podcast, you can then edit your podcast if you want. You can come in here and chop out this part because it was pretty much dead sound. You can go ahead and edit. Let's say the dog barked right in the middle of this. You could go ahead and chop out your dog barking, whatever you want. And then File, Export as an MP3. So when I mentioned that Lame earlier, that allows you to do that MP3. So you have to install both pieces of software. The site walks you through how to do it. You have to do that so then you have the ability to get that MP3 file. Excuse me. That's the most versatile audio file. The export as a WAV works also, but it's a lower quality audio file. So right there, that's it. You just made a podcast. Export it as a WAV, put it on your website if you want, upload it to iTunes if you feel like it, and that's all there is to it. So let's say that you had a student that needed the test read to them. You could read it one time, and then you can save it as whatever you want to save it, and then the student could actually listen and pause and go forward as needed. So very interesting uses. So Audacity is what I would recommend to create your own. If you're on a Mac, you already have this nifty program called GarageBand, and that works great. But this one, if you need a free solution, this is the best one out there. Okay, so that's just a quick Audacity, going from nowhere to a podcast in a matter of seconds. Okay, now let's talk about these subscription sites. There's some really nice things out there, but they come with a price tag. This is Discovery Streaming. You may already have this at your building, but you might not know that there's also audio files in here. So there's not just the movies, which if you have a subscription, you know about the streaming movies. There is a section that has sounds. I couldn't even guess how many thousands of sounds are in here. This would be appropriate for students because it is by Discovery. Everything's been checked, and so students can come in here and get their audio clips for their project if your building subscribes to Discovery Streaming. This one is relatively new to me, and this one is Sounds Abound. And this one is again a subscription service, but the Sounds Abound folks will provide you with royalty-free music solutions, and you can buy like libraries or volumes. I think that's what they call them. They call them different volumes. And so you can buy those. But what's great about this is then you know for sure that there's not copyrighted sounds. You got to be careful on some of those sites like Soundboard. People are uploading all different clips. You're not sure about the copyright of all of those sounds. So Sounds Abound, you're safe and you're covered and you don't have to worry about this. Now, what are you going to do with all these podcasts, all this audio? This is one school district not too far from where I live that they have an entire network. It's almost like a radio, it's like a radio station that they record these segments. Here's the interview with the superintendent, and then here's with the principal. And then they take and they put all of their audio clips online, and so you can go ahead, new to the district, click on the podcast and find out, what the students are saying. So it's really a neat thing to do. So they have their own podcasting network. You could have one too. So we learned how to find clips online. We learned how to produce clips online. You can save them in a variety of ways. They're just audio files, so you can pop them right up to your website or upload them to iTunes. And then we talked about the royalty-free subscription sites, which are great, but I wanted to give you not just those subscription sites. I want to show you where else you can find and locate audio clips online. So thanks for joining me today.